thank you for joining us today. It is officially Thrive Thursday. I'm Laura Brandao, the president of AFR, and I have three guests with me that you are truly all going to enjoy that are going to share with us how they have adapted to our new world and are now thriving. Let's meet our guests. From Detroit, Michigan, we have Nicole Booth. She is the EVP of Public Affairs at Notarize. From Florida, we have Dave Daniel. He is, get ready, a business analyst, the co-owner of Social Rip, a part-time adjunct faculty at Marshall University, and the founder and chair of the Kentucky nonprofit Build Ashland. And from Texas, we have Shamonica Alexander. She is the CEO of MK Golden Design. Okay, everyone, let's jump in. Nicole, you're first up.
All right.
The last few months have certainly brought a lot of change and adaptation. None of us are the same as when we started. So please tell us, what have you learned from this change, and what have you started saying yes to that has helped you to thrive?
All right. So how much time do we have?
Whatever you need, Nicole.
All right.
All about you.
That's a mistake. I've heard a lot about this in my past, and growth and personal development, but I think from the pandemic, what I finally learned was to say yes to my uncomfort zone. And, you've heard a lot about getting out of your comfort zone. I brought one of my favorite mugs, Your Comfort Zone Will Kill You. But the routine disruption that I had during the pandemic really, set me into a new spot. So I was always on the go. I'm a big believer in bringing people together through food and drink. I feel like you really get to learn and you get to do things. So at first I was really frustrated. I missed the in-person meetings. I missed the dinners. I struggled with sitting at the computer, and I just felt myself sinking. So one day I woke up and decided to change that perspective and focus on why that disruption was good, why this uncomfort was good, and started really leaning into that experience and personal growth. And it gave me time to think about what was important in my life, including what do I do for a living, or where am I living? How much time am I spending with my family? So, to save as much as I would love for this whole thing to be about me, just kidding. I did learn a couple things. I want to share, two big things here, part of that uncomfort zone. So the first one is I decided I love to build things from scratch. I like to create art. I like to build things from scratch. I like to sing. So I started writing some music, but and from a work perspective, I loved the organization that I was working with. They were wonderful. I had great experiences there, but I wanted to start from scratch. And so I started the new job at Notarize in August, kind of midway through the last iteration of the pandemic. And I am in scrappy heaven. When I say there's the public affairs.
You're deep in there. You're diving in. And for those of you not in the mortgage business, Notarize is perfect timing for what is happening with digital mortgages right now. So perfect.
Yeah, it was really exciting. And the previous work that I'd done had been around digital identity and data and consumers owning data and technology focus. And this really fit right in my wheelhouse and getting to start this team from scratch. So it's really exciting. And then the second thing that I learned was, just the purpose of digital services as a whole, not just with Notarize or whatnot, but even just in your personal life. And it hit me that not everyone has the same opportunities that I have, that I'm very fortunate. And the pandemic highlighted that the issues that were probably already there that maybe I just didn't pay attention to, but not all communities have access to these services. So when I switched roles, I knew the first thing that I wanted to do was get the organization or get myself involved in whatever way in digital inclusion so that all communities have access to digital learning, hardware, broadband. So I'm really proud of our CEO, Pat, and the Notarize team for, listening to me and letting me run with things, but also for moving with a sense of urgency. And, we've been pushing digital inclusion through in October, there was a digital inclusion week. So we did a whole bunch of education around that. We have an upcoming Rewired virtual event on November 18th that we're going to talk about digital inclusion and highlight some of the organizations that are doing the important work, and then building out a 2021 strategy. So I know I've gone on, but I think the two biggest thing is, like, I love building things from scratch, and I think everybody should have the same access to digital services that I'm fortunate enough to have.
Wow, that is powerful, Nicole. So a couple of things before we get to the digital inclusion, because I do want to get there, but let me ask two things before that. All right. So one thing, why do you feel your comfort zone will kill you?
Oof, I felt like I was bored, like I wasn't pushing myself. And I kind of would get into this routine. I was traveling a lot. I was moving. I was always on the go, right? Like there wasn't a lot of time to like sit back and think. And so that was comforting for me. Like,
right.
I'm a chaos coordinator, like it's a joke. And so I kind of loved living in that. And I think that I have concerns about my comfort zone because I'm not going to be able to stretch myself into other areas. I was being boxed into, like, whether it's a certain role or a certain type of person or a certain personality, and you don't grow, you don't meet new people unless you stretch that comfort zone. And when you look back, I think what it is I look back at February and I'm just like, wow, I was a different person if I wouldn't have gone through this whole transformation. So I just think, if you want to grow as a human and live life to your fullest, you just got to get out of that comfort zone.
Great advice. Okay. All right. So that's great. The singing. When did you actually do this singing and writing of songs before now? I'm just curious, like, how long ago was it?
Long time. So I grew up in choirs. And so when I moved to Washington, D.C., 2 weeks after college, and I didn't have any money. I had nothing. I worked for a congressman. They don't pay you a lot on the Hill. And I was in grad school at George Washington University. So I had to kind of like make ends meet. So I joined a wedding band, and I was a wedding singer.
Oh my goodness.
I have to tell you, it was the best job I've ever had. Like people are so happy.
I'm picturing like Adam Sandler, like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right there. And it was really fun, especially a time in DC when there were a lot of events, and I've just always been in love with singing. And so around that same time, I just really started tapping into, maybe I should be creating things. Maybe I should be writing lyrics. And I've kind of always done lyrics and whatnot. So, in my late 20s, like my dad and I went into the studio and we just started recording some music.
Oh, wow.
So you can find me on Apple. I'm on Spotify.
There we go, everyone. And it is Nicole Booth. Like your name didn't
Nicole
change.
Booth. Okay. And it's so funny. Like I lost that for a while because I was so in that routine. And I think when I disrupted it, I was just kind of like, oh, like I'm feeling the creative juice. Like I'm not stuck anymore. I can, I want to write again. I want to sing again. And I learned how to play the piano, like, so I could write my own music. And I don't know, it was just kind of like, I fell in love with music again in a new way because I'd missed it for so long. So
well, don't stop.
I know, I'll try.
Don't stop. All right. Don't lose that again. Okay.
Right.
It's too important. All right. Then the last question about the digital inclusion. What can others do to help with that? Because we know how important that is right now.
It really is, right? So there are a couple of suggestions that I have. I mean, this has become a growing issue, is again highlighted through the pandemic. So if you look, you can Google digital inclusion. Seriously, it's as easy as that. And look in your community. There are more than likely schools that need hardware. So if you have old computers, tablets, there are schools that need access to that. That's the easiest thing to do. Second, there's usually one or two organizations that have digital literacy. Like you don't think about it, but there are people that don't know how to use the technology that they have. And so there are people who are out there who will teach and do that type of work. And so, and then three, if you can donate to an organization that there's Resilient Coders in Boston is one that we had been working with. That just propels the message. There's also the National Digital Inclusion Alliance.
Wow.
Check out their website. They have some good definitions around what we're talking about. So we're all speaking the same common theme. And so you can tell I just can't imagine being stuck at home and not having a computer or a way to talk to people or break bread with
Oh.
people in a way that's not in person. So I feel like we should share that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. That is something that I wasn't even aware of. So
Right.
thank you very much. That was great. Awesome. All right. Look at the things we learned. That was great. All right, Dave, listen, Dave, your bio is like a page long.
I know.
You've
I'm
got a
sorry.
lot going on
I
here.
don't know what I'm doing with my life.
I feel like you're all over. All right. So tell us, what has changed? What have you said yes to during this? What have you learned? You know, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I did have a long history of saying yes too much. I did have that problem. And you can tell by the multiple things I'm involved in. Sometimes it's a little much. So what I have learned mostly is I need to say yes more to myself. I need to learn more about my own life and what's going on. I tend to be one of those people that when I lay in bed at night, I have a hard time shutting my brain off. I'm thinking about things so much. Oh gosh, tomorrow I'll do this and that type of stuff. So what I started to focus on, and it was because schools were shut down. I had a 3 and a 5-year-old that weren't going to daycare. I have a wife that works, and she's a frontline caretaker in the ER at a hospital.
Oh, wow.
He was still going in, so I got really close with my kids, for good and for worse. They're great. But they're a lot like me. So. But I love them, and it started really kind of focusing my attention on things that I wasn't seeing before. I was so caught up in so many things that it really brought my attention back. But through that recentering, I guess, of myself and my being, I learned how to say yes to other opportunities. And these other opportunities through the nonprofit, which, to give you a little bit of a background, I'm from Ashland, Kentucky, and Kentucky is this right at the center of West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio. So you drive 5 minutes, I'm in Ohio, 5 minutes, I'm in West Virginia, 5 minutes, I'm in Kentucky, right? So, and it's kind of a spot of hardship. It was a coal industry. Right. They've taken a bunch of bad hits. They've lost a bunch of jobs. You have people that are just leaving crazy. And there was a lot of bad blood there. People were negative, and there's no help. We're all going down. And I hated seeing it because there was so much good around us. So I started this Facebook group page called Build Ashland, and we started kind of posting things about what was happening that was positive in our city. And this was in 2013. And I was like, I want to showcase, especially to my friends that left me here in this place, and I wanted to show them this place is still awesome. So it went from me and my wife to now we have over 8,000 members in a city of maybe 19,000 people.
Wow.
It was really cool. And once a month we would get together and we would have events where we clean the river. You clean certain areas that need help. We paint walls. We do things like that. And it started really building a lot of positive energy. And it got to the point where we were like, man, well, we need to make it a 501c3. And so we did that. And then we started getting donations, and it just started taking off. And it almost started becoming, I'm a little obsessive, almost OCD, if one would be so inclined. That would be me. And so it started taking over a little bit. I started dealing with it so much that I did lose sight of some of the things important in my life. So that brought it back. But through this epidemic and what we're going through, and with my side career with the Social Rip, which is a social media marketing company, it really started opening up what the possibilities of remoting.
Right.
And at Marshall University, as a business analyst, as an adjunct, they all of a sudden, when the pandemic hit, they were like, okay, it's your time to step up to the plate. We need you to create all these new pieces of software that make our lives easier at home. And me and the team that I work with, I mean, we came right to the cause. We created all these amazing processes that people can do at home that are electronic. And then that just filtered over into the nonprofit, and it also filtered over into my marketing, to where it kind of shows you that we live in a world where there's no brick and mortar buildings. You don't need those anymore. Right. You really just need your imagination. There's no rules. I don't have to go to a marketing.
How powerful is that, right?
Right. I don't have to go to a marketing school to get a degree. I can just kind of invent myself, and there's no governing body that says, no, that's bad.
Right.
If people like what I put out there, for instance, Nicole, you're singing. If they love those songs, you're gonna be on the Grammys.
There you go. You can say when. That'll help the group out. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's that right there has opened up this endless possibilities of what you can do by not spending time in your car driving to your job, not spending Laura, like we talked about, on a plane going to meetings. It's just opened up this massive spotlight of so many new possibilities of what you can do remoting. And it opens up more connections in a way. You would think being at home, you wouldn't be connected. But Zoom and these other software capabilities like Microsoft Teams that I use all the time. For instance, when I left Ashland to come here, it was hard for me because I was leaving my hometown. I was leaving for the city that I created this nonprofit. But I told him, I said, I'm not going to leave helping. I'm going to keep helping. So through this, over the last 4 months, we created another subgroup of Build Ashland called the AKY, Ashland, Kentucky, Urban Arts Project. And what we did is we got local painters and local people that are very good at finishing buildings. And we started doing urban art all through our hometown, and it's taken off. And the great part about that with social media, people take photos on it. They use hashtags, and it just
sounds like some beautiful Instagram walls.
Exactly. Go check them out. Yeah. Check them out, everybody. It's really cool. We got some cool photos of frogs and all kinds of weird stuff. But it's fun. But that's by far what I've learned.
Wow. Well, first off, what you've done with Ashland tells me a lot of times people think you need 1,000 people to start something. You need 100 people to start something. But it actually just takes one person with the passion and the heart to start something, to be able to build that community. So kudos to you and what you've done, because it takes that one person to make that difference.
I will say
thank you.
Thank you for that. You're going to get me emotional, but
don't cry.
When I started it, it was like there was dozens of other people that were thinking the same thing, and they just needed a symbol. And as soon as it went out there,
they all came.
I was flooded with messages going, I'll let you borrow this. I'll be there to help that. And our first event we had, I showed up saying I was going to help with this, thinking it would be me and my wife and my kids, but it was like 14, 16 other people in our very first event. And it was so cool. And today they're all like family. It was an amazing thing.
Yeah, there's a video on YouTube, and I can't remember the exact name of it, but I think it's something like The Dancing Man. And do you know that video?
No, I don't.
So there's all these hundreds of people in a field, right? Yeah. Like at a park. And one guy gets up and he starts just dancing, right? He just starts moving, right? And it's about the next person that sees that man, he gets up and starts dancing also. And then hundreds of people start dancing all together, enjoying dancing together. So that's all it takes.
It's contagious.
It's contagious once you start.
Positive energy. And by the way, I'm wearing the bracelet. Let me show you here. This is so it says Build Ashland, but our motto is spread kindness.
And World Kindness Day is November 8th.
Oh, you're kidding me. I'm writing that.
God. November 8th, World Kindness Day.
So that, it just took off. Like you said, it was like watching people dance and you just go, man, that looks fun. And the energy just came back. And, I'm not saying there's been a lot of people that have helped in this process, but in 7 years, I'm proud to say that Ashland, Kentucky is coming back. We have got more businesses. We have more young people starting to move back. Things are starting to happen, and it's just, it gets you right there. It's awesome to see.
And that is the power of one.
It is.
It all starts there, and then it grows. So awesome. Love it, love it, love it. All right, Shamonica. All right, we're seeing some I want to hear about making it golden. So tell us, what did you say yes to during the crazy time? What have you learned? Tell us about your journey.
Well, I would say for me, I think it was a relearn because 10 years ago, I quit my job because I also do hair.
Okay.
So I quit my job to do hair full time and just jump right in. Well, when I had my son, I had complications before and after his birth, so I wasn't able to work. And, you know, as a hairstylist, you know, I had those loyal customers who, you know, clients, my friends, my family who wouldn't go anywhere.
I was going to say, I never would leave my hairstyle.
But of course, as women, we have to look good. So within that interim, you know, I had to kind of, once I came back, I had to kind of rebuild that clientele back. So I also took on a part-time job just to supplement. Well, when I say I had to relearn, I believe I got comfortable where I was having this part-time job, but trying to have a business. And through the years, this MK Golden Designs came about. And I was working the business and doing what I needed to do, but I wasn't working it to my full potential because I had this part-time job. So when the pandemic hit, I was furloughed, and because I'm a hairstylist, I can't do hair. So where's my money coming from? Well, I had to say, you know what, Shamonica, you jumped a long time ago, jump again. So I put my website out there. I had a photo shoot. I created my website, and MK Golden Designs, I'm trying to move it, you know, further than I was before. And so that's what I mean by relearning, because as Nicole said too, we just get comfortable. We get comfortable with where we are, it's working, and oh, well, you know, I don't have to do much more, but we do. We need to, you know, press forward and push ourselves. I wasn't being challenged at all. And my husband and my friends laugh at me because I am an outgoing person, but even being on this video makes me nervous. But I can't, even with my son, I tell him all the time, we do things scared around here. So whatever you're afraid of, that's the first thing that I want you to do.
Oh, I love it.
And so that's what MK Golden Designs is about. That's what creating your freedom is about. And that's what living your golden life is about. And another thing that this pandemic has taught me was that life is short. We have, unfortunately, a lot of people who have suddenly lost their lives. And why are we sitting in a place not doing what makes us happy, what makes us feel free? And we can't rely on others to make us happy. And when I say rely on others, even our spouses, we can't rely on our job for our next paycheck, because as you see, we're getting furloughed, we're losing our jobs or what have you. So you have to step out there and do what it is that's going to create your freedom going forward.
That is powerful, Shamonica. Yeah. I mean, that is absolutely powerful. The words that you just said, a couple of things. One, you're right. We can't rely on our children, our spouses, our jobs to ultimately make us happy. And listen to, I mean, all of your stories, but listen to Nicole speak about how she never felt more alive or enjoyed more being part of a wedding singer. Right? Exactly. Like she just said that, right? She just said that, right? Exactly. And then Dave speaking about rebuilding his hometown and making a difference in other people's lives, right? And of course, you being able to show people to have their freedom and live a golden life. And we were joking about this. A lot of people associate golden with the golden years. No, a golden life means this beautiful, glowing golden life.
Exactly.
So, I mean, look at the things we've learned, right? Dave just mentioned, I know myself, I was spending 2.5 hours practically stuck in traffic running up and down highways before. Well, now those 2.5 hours, I'm doing things like this, right? I'm uniting people across the country, speaking about this and making changes in life. I think that's much more valuable than sitting in your car on the highway.
I agree.
So, you know, this I love that. So please tell us, what is MK Designs? Like, I want you to share, like, what is it? Tell us about it.
So again, I started MK Golden Designs as a customization business where I made customized shirts, mugs, cups, anything that you can think of if you wanted your business logo on it. But I wanted to take it a step further as a outlet of as an outlet of expression. Because someday, and this is one of my shirts, Make It a Golden Day, I have a lot of different shirts that say a lot of different things because let's face it, on a day-to-day basis, we feel a different way each day. I may feel encouraged today. I may feel down today. I may feel like if you say something to me, I'm gonna go off. You may not want to hear that. But
what does that say on the shirt when that happens?
Check out the website, www.mkgoldendesigns.com.
MK Golden Designs is that okay?
.com. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to create it as an outlet because sometimes, you know, we want to be able to wear our expression.
Yeah.
And so that's what I wanted to create for everyone. And I don't want to get too much into it because I know the last question.
Yeah. Hold that.
But it's gonna lead into something.
But honestly, Shamonica, I know what I'm thinking, like as you're saying that about wearing how you're feeling. Look at this right here, right? We are on Zoom calls. I mean, I spend half my day on video calls, whether it's Teams, whether it's Zoom, whatever it is, right? And if you think about it, if you're wearing a shirt like that,
yes, that's all you
expresses, that's really great. That is awesome. You know,
and depending on what you're wearing, they may say, well, Laura's going to get it done, but we may not want to mess with her today.
Right. And they need to look at that. My team, every morning I make a video. I could express it right there.
There you go. You don't have to say anything.
All right. Awesome. All right. My God, you guys are so wonderful. We could just go on for days. Okay. My next question. This is the one where everybody gets like a little fidgety in their seat. They're like, oh no, I have to answer this one. But I promise you, once you put it out there to the world, you will feel better and you will grow into it. So I want to ask you, Nicole, first. Every single one of us has some type of uniqueness to us, some type of superpower. And it doesn't just have to be one. It could be one, it could be many. But once we share this, it actually grows and leans into more of our why and who we are. So Nicole, please share with us, what is your superpower?
All right, I did as you asked, and I took a poll.
There you go.
Very important.
Was it fun?
I didn't want to be prepared with fidget, right? So I feel like my superpower is the ability to bring people together and organize and align them towards a common purpose. And if I go back in my life and I see it over and over again, there's definitely a pattern. And I like props, I like visuals. So I have another prop, and I talked about it earlier. I've been known as the chaos coordinator. And it's how do you get people together and aligned over a common purpose and move them forward? And I think that bringing people together is my superpower.
So last week's show, Marissa said that she was a hope dealer.
Oh,
hope dealer.
Oh, that's great.
You're a chaos coordinator. Okay. All right.
I got a mug for everything. Apparently I need a shirt though. I need a shirt now.
I got you.
There we go.
I got you,
She's
Nicole.
hooking you up.
I know. I need your help.
All right,
We'll talk.
Dave. I want to hear the superpower.
Okay, so I talked to my 3 and 5-year-old. I'm apparently a really good fort maker. I make excellent forts.
That's important.
Awesome.
I was told that when I was a kid, I make excellent forts. But I went to the really important person, my wife, and I said, seriously, you see these things that I do, and tell me what you think. And she goes, you know, I've been watching this show, and she loves her TV shows. And she goes, it's called Lucifer. And I go, wait a minute, take it easy. And she goes, no. She goes, he has this ability, and she's like, he reminds me so much of what you do. He has this ability to make people feel comfortable. And when you do that, when you make somebody feel comfortable to chat with you, they start opening up. They start telling things about themselves, of what they're into and what they do and what they're good at, kind of like what you're doing, Laura. And I think that has served me so well as a business analyst, because I bring people together like you, Nicole. And I also, it has totally helped me with this social media, and it has helped me with my nonprofit. It allows me to get people to almost buy in and to know that I'm listening and that I'm pushing towards what they're good at. And it's when she said that to me, I'd never really thought of it that way. But as you said, Nicole, when you start to look back at your life and all these type of instances you were in a situation, it makes perfect sense. And that's a God-given ability that I'm extremely lucky and blessed to have and thankful for. But I love that. I love making people feel comfortable around.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say a couple of things there. One,
Okay, go for
I'm
it.
very happy that you asked your wife. And I believe it's a great exercise for anyone to do with their partner, their grown children. Like I said, I think it really, and now I'm going to get to Shamonica, but Nicole and Dave, do you feel now that someone's told that to you and shared that, don't you kind of almost want to use it more? Like now that you're aware of it, aren't you like, man, I got this. Like I'm a chaos coordinator and I got the ability to calm people.
I'm going to add it to my resume after.
Right, I know.
Honestly, you should.
Well, I was thinking about it and I'm like, wow, if I was like this before, why am I not using that disruptive, uncomfortable time to do it digitally, right? Like, because I was so much bringing people together, like for dinners or for a common cause or an organization, but now it's online, right? Like, so how do I take that tool and, you know, utilize it in a new way? And so I think that's what I thought of when people started telling me that, is like, well, am I doing that now? Like, how do I take this thing that people think is a superpower and use it in this way now? So that's what, now I'm kind of like, okay, how do I bring people together online? Am I doing enough events? Like,
that's great.
Is there a wedding that I can go to online and sing for? You know,
it literally is like you've unleashed your superpower and now you want to use it. Now you want to share it now that you've discovered it. Now, my question, of course, is, why is it we can't figure this out without going through this exercise? But we'll figure that out another day. All right, wait. I have to hear Shamonica's now. All right, let's hear.
Okay, well, I did ask my husband. Good. And I asked my sister and a couple friends, and they actually all kind of said the same thing. Well, did say the same thing. They said I was a genuinely kind person. And they also said that I was also an encourager. And so I believe that is true. And that's where this, again, make it a golden day comes from. Like I said, I started that years ago. I was sending inspirational emails to my friends and family. And at the end of every message, it would say, make it a golden day. This is before I even thought to even do any of this. And as a hairstylist, again, people open up to you so much, and I've heard so many stories and cried and laughed with so many people. It makes them comfortable to come, as Dave said, come and open up and talk to me about things. And I just try to do my best to encourage them, but also be truthful in times that need be as well. So that's where, too, again, MK Golden Designs come in with saying it how you feel and expressing yourself. So
I am so happy for you
that
you have been pushed in a way, right? In a way, you get a little bit of a nudge, right? Yeah. You got pushed into actually following something that ties in with your superpower and what you've always been putting out to the world. But now you're able to do it at a grander scale and be able to touch so many more people, right? Before it was just your network.
Exactly.
Now it'll go out to many others.
Further. Yes, ma'am.
And that is wonderful.
Thank
you.
Oh
my God. You guys are just awesome. Oh my goodness.
You're totally authentic. You are 100% authentic. I believe that even on a screen. Like,
Yes. 100%. 100%.
We back up what Nicole said. I immediately feel comfortable and at ease.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I feel encouraged. It's crazy. I want you to cut my hair. I want to wear a
Got you.
shirt while you do it.
We all need the shirts, right?
We
We
need
have
the
definitely have to get the shirts. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Send me your information. I got you.
Yeah.
All right, now I get to hear who you're nominating for next week's show. Nicole, who will we have?
So next week, I am recommending Rhonda McGill, who is Director of Client Solutions at Performline. So I kept with the technology piece for you. So Performline is a provider of automated compliance technology, which
Got
is
it.
right.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The digital service, and a lot of mortgage lenders will appreciate her. And she now leads their client solutions group, and we've bonded over dinners. One time there was a somebody at our dinner like ghosted us and just left. Like we bonded over. She has great stories, so she'll be really great to add to the conversation.
Awesome. Wonderful. Dave, who do I have the pleasure of meeting next week?
So I really thought hard about this, Laura, because I wanted to give everybody, because I know you're going out to a lot of people, and I want to bring somebody that brings that type of good energy. This girl that I know, I met about 10 years ago, and I was in a adult kickball league. If you've ever been in an adult kickball league, it's one of the best times of your life, right? I mean, how many times do you get to go up to bat while you're drinking at the same time? But so I met this girl, and the first day I literally showed up with my partner that does the social rip thing or social media. We were like, let's go. We don't know anybody, but let's just introduce ourselves. We're loud. People will get it. And she was one of the first people that came to us, and she was like, what is your all's name? You're all crazy. I'd love to chat with you. So we started chatting with her, and over these 10 years, I mean, we became really good friends. She's came to events that we've hosted and things like that. She's just an awesome person, but she lives in Huntington, West Virginia. She has a husband. She has 2 children, Caroline and Leo. And she's a registered nurse at one of our local hospitals called Mountain Health, but she's also the director of patient experience.
Oh, wow.
So these are all great things, but here's my favorite part. So during the pandemic here that we're going through, she decided, you know what? I'm going to get into politics. And as of 2 nights ago, she just won her, she became a council member for her district.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome. She enjoys wine and all those type of great things in life, and you'll love her. Very good.
That's a great story, right? So she decides she's a registered nurse, she's a mom, she's doing all this, and then she's like, now I want to be a councilwoman.
Right.
And she nailed it. She won very big, very big.
Oh, that's awesome. Can't wait to meet her. All right, Shamonica, who do I have the pleasure of?
You will be meeting my sister friend. Her name is Tandy Caraway. She is owner of College Mode, and it is a service. What she does is she helps families get their children into college debt free.
Oh,
so she helps them from every aspect of making sure academics is, where it should be, community service. She tells them, gives them tutoring, any aspect of education that you need help with, and to help the kids get a full ride. She's there to help them do that. And she was just recently featured in Forbes magazine. So I'm just like super proud of her. Like she is out there, and she truly is one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. And she's so kind, and what she does, she loves children, and she wants to see them succeed. I'll let you tell her story of why she did this, but she's awesome.
Wow, look at that. What a group we're going to have next week. Well, you guys have been wonderful. Thank you so much for being on Thrive Thursday. We wish you to continue to thrive and make it a golden day.
Yes.
All right,
Thank you guys.